Okay, DynCorp, day 95, DynCorp, Haiti, and me. Here's Pug Winokur, Mr. Enron, Mr. DynCorp. For those who don't know, DynCorp was born the same day the CIA was born, the same day that the Brotherhood was born, way before the Muslim Brotherhood, Doug Coe's organization. So that National Prayer Breakfast is coming up, so I thought I'd mention the first Brotherhood before the Muslim Brotherhood. But I also want to kind of go into this, people are saying, oh my goodness, I mean, how did this get here with the, you originally started looking into the Clinton Foundation toppling Libya and Syria, and now then you went to Haiti, and then you went into how Haiti was like Congo and Sudan and Rwanda and Somalia, and you got into this sex trafficking and you got into this organ harvesting. How did it all happen? Well, I guess there's only one way to show, and that's I didn't do it, she did. So this is Hashim Thaçi. He's currently the president of Kosovo. He was the prime minister during Hillary's time. And, Kosovo, for all those who don't know, Yugoslavia broke up and Serbia had a large piece of ground, and they kind of, partitioned Serbia. It's kind of like what happened in Congo and Sudan and other places, and what's going to happen in Haiti. And they went for international recognition, the whole thing. Same pattern I've been talking about over and over. I am very familiar with how brutal Milosevic was, and Wesley Clark actually encouraged Milosevic early on, and there was horrible acts performed by the Serbs under Milosevic against the Kosovo people. So I witnessed it firsthand. I was there. I reported on it. The counter reaction, and this is what I'm getting at, is this reaction and then this counter reaction creates these profit opportunities in organ harvesting, and that is what I'm speaking against. So I'm not trying to take sides between the Serbs and Kosovo. All I'm saying is Thaçi, was prominently featured. I mean, when the Serbs came back, when the Kosovo came back in power, and they got the NATO bombing campaign behind them, they were in a huge amount of organ trafficking, and the 100 to 300 Serbian prisoners that were harvested, it's 1%. That is a 1% guess at the total number of Serbian hearts and so forth that were taken. Now, I'm not saying that the Serbs didn't burn people in gasoline in closets. I saw it. So I'm not going to say that didn't occur, and I'm not going to say that there isn't a kind of a, you did this to me, therefore I did that to you. All I'm saying is the CIA is creating these, or DynCorp in this case, is creating these situations. DynCorp then moves in the UN after this instability and then starts encouraging these police officers or these ex-military guys to take 14-year-old girlfriends, and then, well, why don't you sell that one and take a 13-year-old, and why don't you sell that one and take a 12-year-old, and why don't you sell that and take a 10-year-old? And so you have these 60-year-old guys, CIA contractors running around with these 10-year-old girls. And that is the story of Kosovo. If you watch the movie Whistleblower, that is the story of Kosovo. Well, I feel for all those. I mean, there's a lot of kids that were, this is a horrible story, and I don't like covering it, but always in these stories of horror, there are these heroes. And Carla Del Ponte is the hero. She's the the prosecutor for the UN's High Council or High Court. She wrote this book called Madam Prosecutor, and she delves into all these things. She goes into the organ harvesting in Kosovo. She goes into the organ harvesting in Rwanda, Croatia, Albania. As you know, that you saw that email from George Soros to Hillary about toppling Albania. They were ready to do it all over again. They were ready to do Kosovo all over again, the whole organ harvest all over again. I didn't write this. Here's the guy saying, is it really wise that we would have the Hashim Tachi at a Clinton Global Initiative meeting. I mean, he's a known organ harvester, you know. I mean, it says it right here. So these are their own people saying, Hillary's own people. Now, the scuttlebutt is here that when she was Shadow Secretary of State, when Madeleine Albright was Secretary of State in name, that Hillary actually had an affair with Tachi. And it's like, looking back on it, it's kind of like her Dudley from those days. Anyway, that's an aside. But this woman, Carla Del Ponte, is the one who looks into all these organ harvesting issues and gets to the bottom of it and gets to the truth. There are heroes. And she's also the one, by the way, when the Turks try to say that Assad in Syria used chemical weapons, she's the UN investigator that said, no, sorry, the signatures go back to Gaddafi. So that's Carla Del Ponte. And, you know, my videos may be long and so forth, but at least you get the truth. If you watch an hour of Wolf Blitzer, you don't get any of this and you don't get the truth. These are the body bags of the harvested prisoners. Some of them are prisoners in Rwanda. Some of them are Kagame's own secret police that were on a kill squad. So this is the thing that people on the kill squads, on the red squads, don't realize, is they also end up in the body bags with their hearts taken out. So, and I won't go into Kagame here, but one of the things that Carla Del Ponte did investigate was this Rwanda situation, which still isn't resolved. And as I said, she was the one who stepped up and said the Syrian gas here, the sarin gas in Syria was going to be ISIS, going to be Gaddafi, going to be Muslim Brotherhood. And these spoils of war, I mean, basically ISIS looks at this child and says, this is one of my prizes. This is a spoil of war. If you look at ISIS going through Syria, they have a history of killing all the men, harvesting all the organs, raping all the women, raping a lot of the little girls, then selling the little girls off. And this is Boko Haram in Nigeria, and over and over and over. All these Muslim Brotherhood organizations that are supported cause all this stuff to happen. They do the organ harvesting and they do this sexual trafficking. So I'm just calling it out. And if you haven't seen the movie before, this is the movie. It's always going to be Congo. It's always going to be Sudan. It's always going to be Rwanda. It's always going to be Burundi. It just happens over and over again. There's Chad right here, is Niger, Nigeria. It's just the same thing over and over again. And if you don't stop it, it comes to Haiti. It comes to the reason why organ harvesting came to Haiti is you can't get a heart, even with a life cradle that's perfusing the heart. You can't get a heart from Congo to New York at one of the hospitals there in time. There's too much damage. There's too much ischemia to the heart. It's a heart's a muscle and needs blood, needs oxygen. That's why they did Haiti. And that's why Mirabile was built, so that the heart patients could be right by where the donor hearts were coming from. Now, I just like building these stories. Sometimes it's fun to have a story in the background that just keeps building. But you can see Dr. Eric Braverman here with David Petraeus. There's a lot more pictures out there. I'm just letting the group know. And there's a lot more pictures out there with Braverman and Hillary. You're going to find this is the anti-aging thing. This is the sales end of it. I'll give you another 15 years of life, and I got the solution to do that. And it starts out with vitamins and then kind of goes into transfusions, and then we get to organs. So I'm just letting you know that's where the story's going. So for those fun researchers, everybody's talking about the immunity and so forth. I don't know how to feel about it. Patrick Kennedy here left today, and Victoria Nuland left. Victoria Nuland did the Orange Revolution topple in Ukraine for Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son for the gas and oil play. Patrick Kennedy did all the quid pro quos for the McCabe at FBI to get him promoted. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't, as far as immunity goes. I mean, if they agreed to let all the illegal sex trafficking and organ trafficking, if they gave all that information to Trump and then they got immunity for that, I'm still trying to run down exactly what the immunity agreement was from a couple of different sources. But I'm thinking that's okay, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to stop it. I don't know. I'm a lot of people say no, prosecute, and I don't know how to feel about that right now. So McCabe's still at the center of this. McCabe could really do everyone a favor by publishing the metadata for the 650,000 emails, because I think that would at least would stop the sex trafficking and would stop the organ harvesting in its tracks. That would totally gum up the whole network that exists from going back to Kosovo. So I think that's really on Andrew McCabe's heart right now, no pun intended. And as I mentioned before, I think Joe Clancy, I think he's done, the kind of the Pope's Mafia. I think that is over now as well. I think that the time is done. And the problem when you get these kind of it's kind of like the Ku Klux Klan night raiders, this kind of insurgency force at night that's gassing these people with these high-tech tools and, terrorizing people and so forth. You end up going toward a rule by tyranny rather than a rule by democracy. And when you have the chutzpah, sorry, I don't know any other word but the Yiddish one, to do a 50-agent attack on a person who's supposed to be doing oversight, what does that mean for just average, Joe like me, average Joe or Joshua like me? What would they be willing to do? I know already, but I mean, I'm just asking a rhetorical question. It's not good for the democracy. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. I want to keep the last one short. Good night, everybody.